What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, another good show. We got LeVon back. Definitely tune in to yesterday, where we talked about some stuff that's going on with Apple and a replay attack. Then on Wednesday, we're going to have a discussion to do with ransomware in hospitals. And on Friday, we will talk about everything else. Also, please tune in to last week's discussion, episode, I believe, 111, where we had Miss Aisha Hollins on as a guest co-star or co-host, where she imparted her wisdom in our discussion. So it's pretty good show. I definitely recommend you check it out. If you don't check out any of our other past episodes, like I said, that was 111. So we're like in the 117 range now. So we're moving right ahead. Share us, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I always forget to say that. Do all the above. And then obviously continue to listen to us. But without further ado, I give you to LeVon.
Right on. So looks like right now we have an article here from PCMag.com. This is an article from Michael Kan, or Kan, and it's the FCC to create rules to stop SIM swapping attacks. So this article is discussing. It's been a kind of a thing happening with mobile devices with SIM swapping, where basically a hacker gets access to your mobile account through like a mobile provider like T-Mobile, through Verizon, through AT&T, and they're able to get into your account and basically do a SIM swap. So they're basically swapping your SIM, or basically taking control of your phone, and basically transferring it over to a device that's in their possession. And at that point, your phone is no longer active or no longer able to receive calls or receive text messages. And by using this method, that basically hackers are able to get access to the phone, as well as potentially, if you have an account that's using like two-factor authentication, is using that mobile text message to receive your second factor authentication, they can actually use that to gain access to your accounts. So, this is something that, obviously can affect a lot of us. And it seems like I was looking in this article, and it appears that, they make reference to the fact that a lot of information has been exposed through like data breaches. So, for example, your birth date, your residential address, worst case, maybe your social security number has been made public through some data breach. Whether it's like what's the one that happened, the credit provider, like a couple years back, but
Equifax, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Equifax. Yeah. So who knows, like, who has access to your social security number, and they just go ahead and give a call to Verizon and say, hey, I'm such and such. I'm Shannon Tynes, and I need to go ahead and switch my phone over to this new device. I just had some issues. And they're like, okay, can you verify your social security number? Like, oh yeah, I got that right here. And they give that, and they ask for your residential address or your birth date, all this like simple information that's readily available, not readily available, but if they happen to have access to that information, they can use that to kind of verify and say that they are you. So using that information, they swap the phones over, and now they have your device basically, and they can pretty much do whatever they want at that point, as far as using that as an authentication piece. So I mean, obviously it would take some effort. I mean, I think those kind of attacks may be a little bit more targeted. So if like somebody has like your password, they happen to have your password, or they know who you are. Like, I think they referenced an article as well. I think back there's the Twitter CEO, Jack Dorsey, was attacked back in 2019, and they used a SIM swapping attack to be able to get access to his phone, and was able to authenticate to, I guess, his Twitter account or whatever, and get access to some of his other like accounts. So it does happen, but I do feel like it's a little bit more targeted. I mean, it's somebody would have to have your password already for that account that they want to get access to, and then they have to like go through the process of calling the mobile provider and swap the SIM, and then enter the password and wait for the authentication piece to come through to the phone. But I think one good way to kind of counteract this is to use, instead of using your phone, they've already discussed, I mean, this has already been a big thing as far as the SIM. It's not a really secure and reliable way to method to be used as a second factor. They recommend using like the authenticator apps, like they have the Microsoft Authenticator, that the Google Authenticator. I'm sure there's a couple other ones, but just use those because those are more those are tied to your account. You can actually, they're not so much tied to a mobile device. It's much harder for people. People have to actually break into that account first to be able to like get access to that authenticator app. And I know they have their own, security pieces in place to kind of prevent that as well. But these are kind of like, these are something that we have to be aware of. I mean, many of us probably have information out there which is not even aware of it. That's on the dark web, and they may try to use this as a method to try to get access to our accounts and try to get more, whatever method they want to use to get access to our information. So I guess with that said, do you guys have some thoughts on it?
Yeah, definitely. So I think this really highlights the insider threat aspect of this issue in SIM swapping. Like, if your carrier employees can't be trusted to either transfer it correctly, so it may be ignorance when they do the transfer. They may just be giving it to the wrong person, or they may be subject to a phishing attack, or just social networking. Like, somebody just talks well enough on the phone to let you believe that they are someone else, and then you do the swap. But then it's also the nefarious side of it, right? Like, they're saying that people are being bribed to do it in targeted attacks. Like you said, I think you said Jack Dorsey in that case. Like, that was insider. Someone was paid off to make it happen. But regardless, it's kind of like in that aspect of it, if it's coming from the carrier not doing what they're supposed to be doing, nefarious or ignorant, either way, it's out of the customer's hands. Like, it's nothing you can do about it. You don't even know what happened to you. You won't know unless your account gets hacked or something like that. It negates that two-factor authentication that LeVon loves, right? Multi-factor goes out the window. If someone is sharing text messages with you, they're also getting the authentication text as well with the 18 characters when you swap accounts or when you change your password. So a lot of it is out of the customer's hands. So I like how the FCC is actually reaching in. I get a lot of people don't like government overreach. I get it, but in this case, that loophole needs to be tightened. So I'm all for it. Just to protect the customer, right? To make sure that the carriers are doing what they're supposed to be doing in all aspects. And if they're not, then they get the business. The fines and things of that nature will come down the pipe. So I think this is consumer friendly. I have no qualms with them making carriers be held accountable to their customers' security. You know what I mean? But I don't want to steal everything. I give it to Shannon.
So you actually did hit on something I was going to address. Is that this must have hurt LeVon's heart when he saw that this could affect your multi-factor, right? Because like that's how they always verify.
No.
Your phone. He was like, no. Like, LeVon probably went on his knees and wept. It was like. Doves came out from somewhere. No, because here's the thing, and I joke, but multi-factor is one of the secure ways we go about doing things, right? Like, it's another way, hence the multi in it, right? It's not just one way of verifying who you are. You go about doing this another way. And they even mentioned in the article about some ways that they can go about combating this, but like some of the stuff they mentioned, I don't know if it would actually help, because so if you have the carrier ask even more in-depth questions, right? Is that really going to help you if they get hacked again, right? Like, if all that information gets put out there again, okay, now they know your mother's maiden name, your sister's middle name, all these more intricate things they would have asked you to try to make sure to try to do a better job of verifying who you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, well, that doesn't matter to me that you're going to ask me more in-depth questions if you're still going to get hacked anyway, right? But like you were saying, Ryan, like, give them the business when that does happen, right? Like, go ahead and start throwing, $50 million fines their way and see what they do. Be like, oh, wait a minute, You know what I mean? So like make it hurt for them a little bit. Another thing they mentioned was doing a wait time on it, like send an email or maybe wait 24, possibly 48 hours until you actually implement this or until you respond and say, because if you get those emails that say there was a change, like if you ever change your password, right? There was a change made to your account from this device. If this was you, you do not need to worry. But if it wasn't, please contact us, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I'm so as I've said numerous times before, I'm the Patriot Act guy, right? So I have no problem with the FCC trying to step in here and do something different to make this safer. But I don't know where the happy, I don't know where, I don't want to say the correct, but I don't know what a good way forward is. You know what I'm saying? Other than you showing up in person with the ID, you know what I mean, with like 3 forms of ID to say this is who I am. That's the only way I can think about doing it, but that may not always be feasible either, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you would go about doing this, but I'm glad it's something that they're thinking about and looking into.
Right. And that's one thing I completely forgot to even mention. I didn't really get into the whole FCC portion of it, but as you were describing, I mean, obviously FCC is like looking into imposing some, requirements for these mobile companies to, with the verification process, like you said, a 24-hour thing, and kind of verifying through the text. But it's kind of like, as you described, it's like hopefully these things work well enough that can actually prevent this from happening. And because I kind of wonder sometimes if even waiting the 24 hours, if the person doesn't know, like they're still gonna, if they don't get notified, they don't get, some sort of notification on their phone, or get some sort of communication that their phone is about to get swapped over. They just go 24 hours and all of a sudden, oh, my phone's not working. But same time, I mean, at least they're trying to do something, trying to put some sort of, structured system in place that will actually prevent these SIM swapping attacks from happening. And, of course, this thing is kind of like still in work in progress. So it's like I guess they're going to, let's see, the rulemaking process will take some time. It requires first asking the public comment before the FCC can finalize proposed regulation and proceed with a vote. In the meantime, consumers can check out the FTC or FBI for tips on how to prevent SIM swapping. So no exact timeline, but it looks like this, kind of work in progress. Hopefully something comes up soon. I mean, and along with this too, this kind of made me reminded me of, I know they have something in place that they're trying to deal with the telemarketers and like the spam calls that a lot of people are getting. They're trying to make some sort of like authentication system where people can't call you randomly without being like a authenticated number or some sort of, I don't even know how the process works, but I'm looking forward to that because I've been getting so many hits on extending my car warranty that I don't even have a car anymore. No, joking.
But you joke, but I don't have a car, and
yeah.
With that, I'll believe it when I see it, right? Like I've been on the do not call list. I verified this, right? Because I was like, I know I've done this before, but I was like, well, maybe it expires. And you can actually go and check the status of when you got on the do not call list. And it's been over 2 years. My number has been registered on that list, and they still calling me about my warranty. I'm like, look, like even when I bought my car brand new, I was getting calls about it. I was like, come on now, like
like what the hell?
You ain't gonna sit here and tell me I need a new warranty when I just drove it off the lot.
When your friends plug their phone into the rental car,
now
you're on a list somewhere.
That's all it takes. Oh man, yeah, that's good though. It's like hopefully something comes of this. I mean, I don't know how quick they're going to put this in place, but it's I much rather not even have my information out there in the web on my social security number and residential address and all that kind of stuff. But I guess we can't do anything about that now that everything's been hacked to death.
Yeah.
So we can just do what we can.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. Like I can see regulation helping, but like you guys said, you have to protect your own information as well. And the carriers just need to do a better job in general when it comes to information aware, or what is it, cyber awareness training, as well as insider threat and all that good stuff. You can also stop doing surveys on social media where you give out all your information. Like, what's the last? What street did you grow up as a child? That'll be your film name or whatever. Like just these surveys are pulling the data out from you as well, and you just sitting there doing them. Stop doing that.
Right.
But I think this will go a long way. I think this is something that does need to be addressed, and we will keep posted, right? Because we've talked about SimSwap earlier in the podcast, way back when January, February timeframe, when this was an ongoing issue, and now we see the FCC's kicked in. So perhaps by next fall, we'll see what progress has been made or who's been fined. Because we all have the same carrier who keeps having breaches. Perhaps they need some incentive to stop being breached. But definitely like, share, subscribe. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. Tomorrow we'll be talking about a ransomware case in our discussion, which may be attributed to the first death due to ransomware. I'm sure the first recorded one. I'm sure other ones have happened in the past. And then on Friday we will discuss everything else. So we'll talk about Venom 2. We'll talk about video games, like 12 minutes. We'll talk about some other stuff that, like 80s movies and video game generation. So a lot of nostalgia on that podcast. So definitely tune in. Hopefully I got a voice for it, because my voice is starting to fail already. But hit the website, www.theothersideofthefirewall.com, where you get to all our social medias. You can hit us up personally. I am at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I am on Clubhouse, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.